Hello everyone, this is Jasmeet Bhatia from Landmark Global Learning Limited, and today we have very special two guests in our office in Mohali, head office, Landmark Global Learning, Mr. Brett and Mr. Victor from Cape Breton University, Canada, which is an Atlantic province in Canada. And right now we are looking at universities where students can go because clearly there was a message from Immigration Minister a few days ago that they are looking at less populous regions for growth. So, Brett and Victor, thank you for taking out time, especially visiting us from Canada and doing a live with us, and giving a lot of information which we're going to discuss for parents and students. Over to you, Brett.
Thank you very much, Jasmeet, for having both Victor and I. It's always nice to be back in Chandigarh and certainly back in Mohali here at the Landmark office. You're absolutely right. The Canadian government now is definitely giving a bit more priority or asking students to think about regions that, maybe several years ago were outside of Southern Ontario or some other provinces in the West. And certainly Victor and I are here today to answer any questions students have about academic programs, the process of coming to Canada, or certainly any thoughts and questions about their future in international education.
So tell us something about Cape Breton. I know it's a beautiful place, tell us something more about your university and the city. And there are a lot of students. We've been working with Cape Breton from more than 10 years, I think so. And, we always had a very positive feedback for the university. And it's hard luck that I haven't visited the campus. Sometimes in future I will definitely visit the campus because mostly I have visited I most of the universities and colleges in Canada. So tell us something more about Cape Breton City and your university.
Sure. So first of all, I want to tell those listening and those that are on this that you're in good hands with Jasmeet and Landmark Education. They've been a long-term partner of Cape Breton University, and we've received excellent support from them in terms of the study permit, but also in terms of helping you find the right program. For us at Cape Breton University, we are a smaller public university in the province of Nova Scotia. Some of our strengths, I think, really are within engineering, the health sciences, and definitely business programs. If you are someone based in Punjab or in North India and are looking to come to Canada, Landmark can certainly guide you through the process of getting accepted to the university, but also the visa process. What I think makes our university unique is certainly the program selection we offer, but also what opportunities are available in Nova Scotia after you graduate. I know many of you are completing your +2 in the coming weeks and will have your exam results. If you are looking for, a bachelor's program in engineering, public health, or business, we have a lot of opportunity here. But I think too, for those of you that might already have a bachelor's degree, we have some master's programs in artificial intelligence, the health sciences, and business that come with a very competitive tuition price, and also, of course, permits you to travel with your spouse or children. I think, Jasmeet, you and I have talked about this a lot in the past. Most students we find in North India, they typically know Southern Ontario, the GTA, Brampton. But what's happened is the Canadian government is giving priority to a lot of regions that maybe in the past students might not have thought about. And while the cost of living seems to be going up everywhere in the world, it is a bit more pronounced and noticeable in some larger cities in Canada. If the students listening today, or maybe the parents on this session today, if they're thinking, I want my daughter or my son to go abroad, but we have a budget, or maybe there's some outcomes that they're looking for in the long term, this is really what Cape Breton University, I think, is unique, and I think what our region can provide those students.
Definitely. See, I've been a big fan of smaller cities, and I have a very big positive feedback from the students who go to smaller cities or smaller regions. So I always tell students, you can save on accommodation, you can save on time, you can concentrate better on your studies, and you will live in a very close knit society. Because I have visited a lot of I visited Timmins, Sault Ste. Mary, Sudbury, Fort St. John, Dawson Creek. I've even visited Fort McMurray, and when we go there, it's a smaller community out there, and everybody knows everybody. So it's kind of a which gives you confidence that you are in a region where you feel safe. And talking about safety, like how do you rate, your region on the safety rack?
Yeah, I mean, look, Canada is an overwhelmingly safe country, certainly compared by many standards.
Yeah.
Um, but also, Nova Scotia is probably one of the safest parts of Canada.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, when students do come to us, I think it is important to note we're not a village. There is an airport you can fly into. There's a very multicultural environment to study in. But it is certainly a benefit of choosing Canada and Atlantic Canada. We know that when parents send, their sons or daughters, that is a prime concern. I think in recent years there might have been some, I wouldn't say misleading information on the internet, but there's been some difficulties within Canada in very, very specific locations for a
Yeah.
very specific short period of time.
Yeah.
This is not something Nova Scotia or Atlantic Canada has experienced.
Yeah.
And a lot of the questions that students ask us are usually around not so much safety, but because you are in a place that is in Toronto, what are the job opportunities? What are those outcomes after they graduate? Because I think there's a conception that if you're not in Toronto, there's no jobs.
Hmm.
And I think what I would say to that is think of India kind of like Canada. When most people think of Canada, they think of Toronto, they think of Vancouver. When most people think of India in Canada, it's usually Delhi or it's Mumbai. But of
Yeah.
course, there's a lot of jobs outside of Delhi and Mumbai. And of course, there's a lot of benefits to those other regions. So keep that in mind. I think for your students, you have a lot of great partners in Ontario, in British Columbia. We're another option for them that I think have some really good outcomes that they might not expect.
And I think if I can say, jump in here, Brett, for a moment.
Of course.
First, thank you, Mr. Jasmeet, for welcoming us to your office and for your long-term partnership with Cape Breton University. And we need to recognize, or students and families should recognize, Cape Breton is an international tourist destination that named the top island in Canada 12 of the last 13 years, and we're used to welcoming people from all over the world to visit our island for our unique culture, our welcoming, musical, accommodating culture, so people can feel seen by the retention of previous students from North India that have graduated, have started businesses in Cape Breton, so that there is a community here when you move. And the university itself has been transformational over the last few years as well. We've had over $250 million of campus investment. We now have a new medical school on our campus. We are in the midst of building a Center for Discovery and Innovation that will house cutting edge labs for our students, for public health students, for nursing students. We've put over $1.5 million in residence upgrades to have a communal kitchen because students wanted to cook for themselves, especially our Indian students who want to bring the taste of home to their campus living life as well. We've renovated our ice hockey arena, making Canada's first home for women's hockey, putting women at the forefront of a sport that's traditionally been male dominated. We've also built a new health center for students, which includes a 10,000 person newcomer care clinic, where spouses or children of our Indian students can access their primary health care right on campus. So there's plenty of things happening at the university. So at Cape Breton University, when you think of like maybe the shine has come off Canada in some way, well, it's building brighter at Cape Breton University, and we need to continue welcoming our students, but there's been such a generational impact on our university and our communities that we are so proud of. And we need to continue with your support, Jasmeet, in Landmark.
Yeah. Definitely. See, we are a big supporter of public universities or even public colleges which are performing well. And in the past few months, we have been seeing that public universities visa approval rate has gone a little better than the visa of the colleges. So I am suggesting a lot of students that you should apply to a public university rather than a college. And we closely work with many universities across Canada, so there are like 100 partners across Canada. But right now, you're rightly said that Nova Scotia or Atlantic provinces are relatively better options for the students to choose right now, because see, already there is a huge population, especially Indian population, in the major provinces in Canada right now. And see, do you feel I'm sensing that there is a little positive movement from the Canada side, because there was a Mark Carney visit also, and there was a delegation visit also. From the university visit came, and then Mark Carney came, then the colleges visit came. So there was a lot of visits from the Canada side to mend the relationship with India, politically, and even the education side also. So do you think is like in near future this is going to be improvement on all segments, or just on certain industrial segments?
I mean, I like what Victor said. The shine has come off a little bit. I'm very optimistic about the future of Canada and international education, not just globally, but specifically with India. I think it's important to stress that Canada is absolutely open to international students. I think it's important to also note, kind of what you just said, Jasmeet, is the profile of student. We're really looking for students now, I think, for public universities, but coming for those STEM programs. And this is not new. I think if you go back 5 or 6 years ago, Australia and the United Kingdom did the same thing. Relationship between Canada and India, there was a shine that came off it a little bit, but I think there's been a reset in relations, and I think what you're going to see moving forward are much better applications from students, but also students' knowledge of what regions of Canada have the best selling points for them.
Yeah, and the federal government's been pretty clear as of late too of the type of student, which helps both us from the public university side and you as well and your business at Landmark. They want to see students that are performing well academically, have very solid funding, and are taking programs that are labor market focused, of which CBU has the healthcare and the STEM focused programs that really complement both Nova Scotia and the broader Canadian landscapes labor force needs as well at the undergraduate and graduate level.
So see, we have a lot of questions coming in. Let's jump to the questions, because I think that will only explain the entry requirements, the tuition fees and everything, because there are a lot of questions like that. So is a 3-year degree accepted for a master degree?
So for the master's degree, it's going to depend on what program you're applying for. But generally, if you're applying for one of the masters in AI, healthcare, or digital marketing, a 3-year master's is accepted if it is evaluated by WES, or the WES evaluation, as being equivalent to a 4-year Canadian degree, or the student has a couple of years relevant work experience. If a student has a 3-year degree and are a fresh graduate, it's going to be difficult to get into one of our master's programs right away. But generally speaking, we do accept 3-year degrees. Yes.
So yes, we can apply with 3 years degree, but it's good that you'll have VAS with you. Then it is better option for you, because it's an equivalency, and it's
Correct.
not very difficult to get a VAS. It's a very easy process, and we can get your equivalency done. What are the exact requirements for international students for bachelor programs at CBU?
So for the bachelor's programs, it's going to depend on what program they're applying for. So similar to India, if you're applying for, say, an engineering program, in your +2, you'll need, maths, 2 sciences. So we need those core subjects for an engineering program. We do have an applied engineering technology program that if you don't have maths, we can accept biology, physics, chemistry. So for those of you who don't have maths in your +2, don't get too stressed. If you do have 3 sciences, you're okay. If you're applying for a business program, we do accept students that have taken economics, commerce, business studies, finance, things like that. And generally for those students that are looking to go into the health sciences, we would need chemistry plus one other science and maths.
So team, the basic requirements, not really out of the box requirements. And there are some diploma courses also, Brett, with CBU.
So we do still have a diploma in engineering technology. It's a 2-year qualification. The way that works, Jasmeet, is that students would apply for the 3-year program, but after they've completed 60 credits or 2 years, they just then pass out. Generally speaking, as an overall average, we're looking for a 55% overall and nothing less than 50 in the core subjects.
So 55%, nothing less than 15. What are the IELTS requirement for bachelor's and master's?
So for the bachelor's program, we do accept MOI. The only program we don't accept MOI for is our registered nursing program, as well as our Masters of Healthcare Leadership and Innovation. But for all other subjects, we do accept MOI. But of course, we strongly recommend taking the IELTS exam, of course, for your study permit application.
And if there are like a lot of queries are coming from onshore students, like they want to take up masters. So what is the requirement for master programs, entry requirements for master programs?
Would that be for the students onshore?
Yeah, onshore or maybe offshore, both of them. Yeah, are the requirements different?
No, so the onshore requirements would be the same. It depends on what university they're going to, but we would generally look for a lower class second or about a B average in their bachelor's degree. One thing though I would say, Jasmeet, that we're getting a lot of inquiries on are students, for example, that you might have or other partners of ours in India. If they send students to go to those big colleges in Ontario, so Seneca, Humber, George Brown, Durham, if you've sent or if you're a graduate of a 2-year engineering qualification in Ontario colleges, a lot of students now are realizing that the opportunities with a 2-year diploma, even though it's a college in Ontario, the job opportunities are not the same as a degree. We will actually let them do a top up with us over 3 semesters and they don't have to start again. So a student who may be graduating from Ontario colleges can actually join us for a 1.5 years, get a 3-year postgraduate work permit, as well as that engineering technology degree.
So definitely. So there are a lot of queries here. And is there any scholarship right now CBU is offering?
I'll let Victor, you can talk about that one. I know you know more about scholarships than I do.
Yeah, I mean, we've been recently have launched over $500,000 in scholarships directly for international students, including 10 scholarships that for international students outside of Canada that basically covers all your differential fees. We have students for scholarships for international students in Canada as well. Especially, the children of our international students that enrolled in Nova Scotia high schools, we can offer scholarships to them that equate to basically domestic tuition. We also have residence scholarships for students because we really want students to come and spend at least their first semester living on campus. I know the lure of off-campus housing is high, but when you break down the per semester cost, it's really quite more affordable. Live on campus, get that more international experience, meet people from different countries, from Canada, familiar with the campus, 24-hour-a-day security. So we offer 10 scholarships for shared accommodation in our residence as well. So we're really trying to do our best to give opportunities to international students based on their academic performance and desire to join us at Cape Breton University.
So a lot of scholarships available. They need to apply separately. There is no flat scholarship.
Yeah, there's the scholarship application has closed. You do need to apply for that directly for the resident scholarships. But our great admissions team at CBU flags the scores for the international academic scholarships at the point of application. So there's not a secondary app for that.
So I know there's an on-campus housing. So what is the cost of that?
So for on-campus housing, it depends on what type of housing you live in. So we have everything from shared rooms to shared apartments where you have your own bedroom to sleep and study in private, but you would have a kitchen, living room, bathroom, or there's also private rooms. The shared room, it works out to be about 600 Canadian dollars a month. The shared apartment is about 800 Canadian dollars a month. And the private room is about 1,000 Canadian dollars a month. Now, I know on the surface, Jasmeet, students are probably thinking that's way more expensive than living off campus. However, it includes your heat, lights, electricity, and internet.
Yeah.
And what I recommend about the on-campus, it's what Victor said. You're going to be arriving in a new country. You're not going to be orientated with the city. You might not be knowing many new friends yet. Stay on campus for the first semester. It's only 4 months. We'll collect you at the airport. We'll take you there. Once you meet your friends, if you decide you want to shift and rent a house with some new made friends, the option is yours. But we're one of the only universities in Canada that actually lets you stay on campus for just 1 semester rather than the full year.
See, I will always advise students to be on campus for first semester because that's the most difficult time of their life. They leave their home and they're looking for facilities. And the facilities at Canadian universities are amazing. They are really amazing. They're good facilities, and you're going to love it. And and once you start, like they say, when you start sitting in a business class, it's very difficult to sit in an economy class. So it will be similar. Once you start using the accommodation at the campus, it will be very difficult for you guys to shift outside. So I have seen students who started and they cannot leave it sometimes.
And saying that, by the way, I mean, look, there's always going to be students that want to live off campus. And those master students, they're a bit older. They're not 18 to 20 years old. We do have an off-campus housing coordinator that can help those +2 students and master students find accommodation off campus. But it's our recommendation to live on campus for at least the first semester. I know a lot of parents will be wondering, what is the overall cost of living? And for us, if you live on campus for the academic year, you take a meal plan, it generally costs about 15 to 16,000 Canadian dollars. That is definitely below the requirement that IRCC gives, because our part of Canada certainly is a bit more affordable than other parts. Saying that, if you're someone that wants to eat at a restaurant 5 nights a week, the cost is definitely going to be more. If you're someone that might live off of home cooking only and you really want to make your budget last longer, there's students that definitely live on less than 15,000. So it is a spectrum, but I think it's important for families to know the cost of living that we provide on campus and in Nova Scotia is quite competitive.
Definitely. So, see, in the first year when the students arrive, it's a very difficult time, as I discussed before also. So what kind of facilities academically and personally CBU is providing those students, like in the first year? Basically, that's the toughest time when the students are there.
Yeah, I can take this one too, Brett. And this is one of the things, I'm glad you asked that question, Jasmeet, too, because we try to tell students all the time, putting your head down, performing well academically is very important, but your tuition covers a whole plethora of services, and your success is going to come from taking advantage of everything we offer. And included in that is your healthcare policy. We have the healthcare, as I mentioned earlier, the primary healthcare clinic on campus, and there's also mental health supports that you can access through social workers employed there. We pick you up at the airport for free, take you to your accommodations on campus or off campus if you want. There's academic advising everyone must access, and the advisors and your peer success coaches can stay with you throughout your university career, someone that you can rely on, get advice from, and they can create study plans for you through the Writing Center, which offers free tutoring as well, and the Math and Science Center. And it's not only on a specific subject of which they can help people, because you can be overwhelmed. It's a new country, it's a different system of education. They can create with you a work-life balance, if you will, in your studies and in your personal life, to be able to set you up for success through your university career at CBU, and be engaged with the physical activity opportunities we have as well for our intramural sport program. Whether you like to play cricket or badminton or basketball, ice hockey, try something new, or frisbee golf, there are organizations within CBU that you can access for free to get you engaged with the student body, with sport, with competitiveness and physical activity, which is proven to be very great for your mental health. And we have a brand new gym facility for students to access in our Kehoe Center that students have free access to as well. So just get involved. Make sure you visit career services if you're looking for a part-time job or an internship. There's work placement officers to help the students connect with their opportunities there. You know what? You tell students you can't land in Cape Breton and print 50 resumes and just hand them out and expect to get a job. In smaller places like this, in a city of like 90,000, connections matter. Get out into the community, volunteer, make connections, use the support that we offer. Check in with your international student advisors, 5 that are there that are all immigration certified. They can help the students connect with their post-grad work permit, other residence options post-grad or during their studies. There to support their spouses, their children if they bring them through the master's program as well. So we offer a world-class academic experience, but a full life experience too for students to get their most out of their studies at CBU.
Okay. So in the end, I will ask you last question. Like, what are the key programs in masters and in bachelors for students to choose from?
Yeah. So if there's a few programs to take away, when you're thinking about Cape Breton University, the health sciences absolutely is a real strength of ours. Whether it's public health, whether it's a registered nursing program, whether it's a Master's of Healthcare and Innovation Leadership, the health sciences is a real program that we offer for bachelor students as well as master students. I think at the technical level, we are extremely strong in engineering, applied engineering, and certainly business analytics. That's another thing that we have. Unfortunately, we're not an institution with computer science available or software engineering, but the health sciences, business analytics, data analytics, and engineering is really what we offer. I think what your students really should take away, Jasmeet, as well, is that when they finish with us, but also when they start with us, the support network that we're providing is there to make sure that they're successful in any one of those fields that they decide to study.
Definitely. So any more guidance you want to give? We just in the end, last thing to the students, if you want to tell them.
I see a couple of questions in there about part-time job opportunities as well as program requirements.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much more about the program requirements. It's all on the website. It's quite nuanced, but the program requirements are about a 55 overall in your +2, about a B average if you're doing a master's. The question we often get, what are the part-time job opportunities? There is this perception that if you're not living in Toronto or Ontario, there's no part-time job opportunities. And I strongly disagree with that. And I'll tell you why. There are definitely more jobs in Toronto, but there's definitely a lot more students competing for those jobs.
Yes.
If you're someone that comes to Nova Scotia and is looking for a part-time job, exactly what Victor said, use the services that we offer to help you get a job, whether it's the Career Services Department, whether it's the Writing Center to build your CV. But what's really important, and Punjabis are very good at this. I would say Punjabis, almost out of all of our international students, are the best at this. It's getting into the community and building those networks. If you're interested in working in Nova Scotia, don't expect to have a part-time job on the Wednesday if you just arrived on a Monday. Settle in, get your CV updated, but also make those connections. And yes, you will have a part-time job, whether, maybe it's going to be a cafe, maybe it's going to be a hotel, maybe it's going to be with a local owner. Just make sure that you're out there networking and you'll have no problem. I promise you.
Definitely, that's true. So I'm going to be in Ahmedabad for next 3 days. Any student who wants to meet me in Ahmedabad can meet me there. And Landmark has approximately 15 offices across India, so there is no processing fees for if you apply to Canada or any other country. And is there any application fees right now we are charging for Cape Breton University?
Well, Jasmeet, we know that the +2 grades are coming out in the next couple of weeks. And because Landmark has been such a good partner of ours, if you are interested to apply with Landmark Education, we can waive your application fee. We would need a commitment that you are ready to confirm your seat in time for the next September or January intake. But absolutely, if you want to connect with Landmark and Jasmeet's colleagues, we can absolutely look at waiving the application fee for you.
So great news. So have no application fees, no processing fees, genuine guidance, what you get at Landmark. And we are very much, concerned about your career. So visit our nearest office or call us at this number or send us a WhatsApp to get your case applied to Cape Breton University, Canada. So thank you, Brett. Thank you, Victor. I think I would have gone the session long, but I have a flight to catch. So see you in Canada or in India next time.
See you soon, Jasmeet. Safe travels.
Take care, man.